Pilot life is different than most jobs because you spend hours together in a very small room, and the last thing you want to do is get into a discussion with someone that makes you want to say,
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 topics I try to avoid on the flight deck at all costs. Coming up. Hey 7-4 crew, welcome back. If you don't know me, my name's Kelsey. I'm a 747 pilot. My channel, 7-4 Gear, is all about aviation. So whether you're a pilot or an aviation enthusiast, consider subscribing. In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 topics I try to avoid while I'm on the flight deck at all costs. Let's get into it. Think of the life of a pilot being something like going on a first date. And hopefully you're more charismatic than me and your first dates don't look something like this.
So, do you like weather?
When you show up to the flight deck, the first thing you're going to try to do is develop some relationship or rapport with the other pilot or pilots that you're flying with. And the reason that's important is for the next several hours or several days, you're going to be spending time working with that person. And if it's going well and you're having a great time, you're getting paid a lot of money to push some buttons, have a great time, and fly planes, which you probably love doing. So if you develop that rapport early on, it makes the rest of the trip go really, really well. On the other side of that, if you start getting into some of the topics I'm going to talk about later in this video, and you get into a very heated or unpleasant conversation with them, it's kind of like getting on a bad date. And if you've ever been on a bad date, you know it lasts for a couple hours and you walk away thinking, man, I don't ever want to see that person again. Well, imagine that, except you're stuck with that person for the next 2 to 4 days. Sounds fun, right?
He said, sarcastically.
So I'm going to cover the 3 topics that I try to avoid anytime that I'm working with somebody. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how I get off the subject if someone really wants to talk about it. Money. Especially if you go to airlines, you're going to know roughly how much the other pilot is making. If you watch the video on pilot salary that I talk about how to calculate what the other pilot is making, you're going to know more or less how much that pilot is making once you know how many years they've been at the airline. So there's really no reason to get into money talks because it can get very sensitive with the other person. If you're not making a lot of money or you're making a lot more than the other person, it can make the other person uncomfortable. So there's really no reason to get into it. Now from time to time, you're going to talk about a trip you want to go on or a car or a boat or something that you want to buy. And that's going to be just part of it. However, I try to avoid talking about money whenever possible because I don't like to create a situation where the other person's uncomfortable. Now, money can be a harder topic to stay away from, but the next 2 are no matter what, I never bring them up. Religion. Wars have been fought for hundreds of years over religion, so there's no reason to bring that up on the flight deck. And if you do get into an argument with somebody in the real world about religion, you're able to just walk away from them. That's not the case in the cockpit. You're stuck on that flight deck for hours or days, so don't ever bring that up. Because if you think you're going to bring up religion and it's going to end something like this...
We really see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, don't we?
Absolutely. I've never met anyone before who had the exact same idea as me about what to do with Palestine.
It would work, right?
Of course it would work.
It probably won't, so keep that on your personal time. Politics. In society right now, things are getting very polarized on politics. So while you might see eye to eye with another flight deck member or another cabin crew member on something about politics, you might agree on 90% of everything, but that last 10% might be something you really don't agree on and you can get very heated about. So there's no reason to bring that subject up because all it's going to do is create tension. So while I'm at work, no matter what, I don't get into anything about religion or politics because what you can gain from it and what you can lose from it, there's just not a good enough ratio to make it worthwhile to bring it up. So no matter what, those are 2 topics you want to stay away from at all costs. Now if I'm on the flight deck or I'm talking with the flight attendants in the back between flights and they want to get into politics or any of the other things I just talked about, usually what I do is I start with a and then I go into a different topic. And that usually gets it off the subject. If they want to keep pressing the issue and go back to politics or back to money or back to religion or any of those things, usually what I say is, hey, while I'm at work, I don't usually like to talk about these things, so can we just not talk about it? And 99% of the time, people will go, oh yeah, okay, cool, no problem. Because they realize as well that that's a heated topic, so it's not worth having that conversation. Now, if someone keeps pressing, you only have one choice, and that's to fight them.
I'm gonna scissor kick you in the back of the head. I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
No, I'm just kidding. If someone brings that up, you're just gonna say, okay, and you might as well just be quiet at that point. Because obviously they want to create tension or they want to create a situation. There's nothing positive from engaging in that type of a conversation. So if you're flying with someone and they insist on talking about one of those things, usually I'm just quiet. And if they're just talking out loud and I'm not replying, even if they're saying something I completely disagree with, it just makes it easier than if you get into that heated debate. Oh, well, I don't see it like that. That is going to escalate your emotions and their emotions. So regardless of the situation, I just diffuse it by just letting them keep talking. They're talking and I'm not responding. Eventually, they're just going to stop talking about it. So that's how I back it down from there. But I never found it needed to go that far. So usually you're not going to have that problem. Alright crew, those are the 3 topics I try to avoid at all times while I'm on the flight deck or anytime I'm at work. In the comment section below, let me know how you would deal with somebody bringing up a topic that you really don't want to talk about. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, keep the blue side up.